Let us delve deeper into the events and emotions that course through the hearts of our protagonists. Soo Yoonjin, with her quiet demeanor and unassuming nature, is a lass whose spirit belies her tender years. She is filled with a sense of purpose, knowing that her parents have toiled to provide her with the education that will lift her out of poverty and allow her to make something of herself. As she steps into the grand halls of the academy, her eyes widen with wonder and a touch of trepidation. She feels out of place, like a country mouse in the big city, unsure of her footing and wary of the strange customs and mores of her new environment. As fate would have it, upon crossing the threshold of the academy's gates, Yoonjin's path is crossed by a young man astride a motorbike. His recklessness causes a deluge of water to befall her, drenching her to the bone. Her clothes are soaked through, and her hair is plastered to her head, making her feel like a drowned rat. Her face flushes with shame as she realizes that all eyes are upon her, and she feels a deep resentment towards the young man who caused her such embarrassment. Her cheeks burn with the intensity of her feelings, and her eyes blaze with a fire that betrays the depth of her emotions. Chang Zheng, on the other hand, is a lad of great wealth, born into a family of prestige and renown, who has become an idol among the throngs of students who inhabit the halls of the school. He sees her anger and frustration, and instead of feeling threatened or put off, he is intrigued. Yoonjin strides towards Chang Zheng, resolute in her determination to confront him for his impetuous actions. Her heart races with a blend of fury and anxiety as she prepares to unleash a torrent of righteous indignation upon him. However, in a sudden twist of fate, destiny intervenes, sending a stray baseball hurtling towards her vulnerable form. With swift and nimble reflexes, Chang Zheng snatches the ball out of the air, preventing her from being struck down. Rather than seeking forgiveness for his earlier impertinence, Chang Zheng offers her a pearl of wisdom, entreating her to exercise caution in her future endeavors. And then, with the grace and poise of a nobleman, he turns on his heel and walks away. Thus begins a story of two young souls, whose lives intersect in unexpected ways, and whose journey of self-discovery and growth is just beginning. After the unsettling incident that left Soo Yoonjin feeling disheartened and discontent with Chang Zheng, but they find themselves in the same class, with Soo Yoonjin seated directly in front of Chang Zheng. At school, Soo Yoonjin discovers solace in the companionship of her dear friend, Mo Yoo-hwa. They form a strong bond, sharing their backgrounds of humble beginnings, and Yoo-hwa helps Yoonjin in adapting to her new school environment. Despite her initial efforts, Soo Yoonjin finds herself struggling to keep up with the rigorous academic demands of the curriculum. Her grades in maths are particularly poor, with a score of only 50 in the division of maths test scores. In stark contrast, Chang Zheng has aced the test with a perfect score. Soo Yoonjin is not naturally gifted in maths, and the lessons prove to be a constant challenge for her. She feels a profound sense of shame and inadequacy as she observes Chang Zheng effortlessly solve complex problems, his mind seemingly attuned to the intricacies of the subject. However, despite these struggles, Soo Yoonjin refuses to yield. With the help of her friend Yoo-hwa, she perseveres, determined to prove to herself and others that she is capable of achieving greatness. One day, during class, Soo Yoonjin decides to take a book with her to the bathroom. Little does she know that this small action will lead to a misunderstanding that will change everything. Seated behind her, Chang Zheng's curiosity is piqued as he notices Soo Yoonjin's surreptitious behavior. He surmises that she must be trying to cheat on a test and impetuously snatches the book from her, tossing it up into the air. Soo Yoonjin attempts to retrieve the book, but in her haste, a pad concealed within falls to the ground. Overwhelmed with humiliation, Soo Yoonjin gathers her belongings and makes a swift exit from the classroom. As she departs, one of her male classmates picks up the pad, much to Chang Zheng's dismay. Instantly, he is consumed with regret for his actions, realizing the harm he has caused. Driven by a desire to make amends, Chang Zheng attempts to call out to Soo Yoonjin during the subsequent lesson, but to no avail. Undeterred, he resorts to gently poking her with a book, hoping to catch her attention. Yet, Soo Yoonjin remains aloof, impervious to his attempts at reconciliation. In a last-ditch effort of frustration, Chang Zheng throws the book onto Soo Yoonjin's table from behind. Annoyed by his insistent behavior, Soo Yoonjin pulls up her chair, accidentally brushing against Chang Zheng's leg in the process. Chang Zheng winces in agony as Soo Yoonjin's chair accidentally strikes his leg, a physical manifestation of the emotional pain he feels from his actions towards her. Despite the discomfort, Chang Zheng is consumed by remorse, racked with guilt for his impulsive behavior towards Soo Yoonjin. Later, as Soo Yoonjin flips through the pages of the book that Chang Zheng had tossed, she discovers that he had solved all the maths problems within, providing full explanations for each one. A small act of contrition, but one that shows his sincerity in making amends. As the school day ends, Soo Yoonjin retreats to the rooftop, lost in her thoughts. Suddenly, Chang Zheng materializes, playfully tugging on her hair in an attempt to lift her spirits. But Soo Yoonjin's anger towards him still simmers beneath the surface, and she attempts to leave. Determined to make things right, Chang Zheng offers to tutor Soo Yoonjin in maths, hoping to bridge the gap between them. At first, Soo Yoonjin's heart is hesitant, recalling the pain and humiliation she experienced from Chang Zheng's previous actions. She still harbors doubts about his intentions, but the weight of her maths teacher's insistence that she improve her grades weighs heavily on her mind. She knows that she needs to try harder, particularly since her parents have worked hard to provide her with the opportunity to attend her dream school. After much contemplation, Yoonjin eventually relents and agrees to let Chang Jang tutor her in maths. To Yoonjin's surprise, learning from Chang Jang turns out to be an enjoyable experience. Despite his occasional annoyance and teasing, Chang Jang proves to be a patient an effective teacher, explaining difficult maths concepts with ease and clarity. As the two students delve into the depths of mathematical equations, Yoonjin's academic performance begins to soar to new heights. With the release of the latest maths test, she is related to discovering that she has achieved a remarkable score of 85, her face aglow with pride and satisfaction. Upon witnessing Yoonjin's triumph, Chang Jang too is filled with a sense of happiness and contentment. From that day on, their friendship blossoms, as if their time spent together has sown the seeds of companionship. Alas, life is often fickle and unpredictable, and Yoonjin finds herself faced with a sudden family emergency that forces her to leave school for an extended period. From that day forth, Chang Jang's once bright and eager countenance begins to fade, replaced by a forlorn and distant expression. Lost in daydreams, he gazes longingly at the empty seat where Yoonjin had once sat, her presence sorely missed. His disinterest in school eventually reaches a point of concern when he is discovered dozing off during a lesson, his mind preoccupied with thoughts of Yoonjin. Abruptly roused from his slumber by a girl sitting in front of him, Chang Jang's eyes dart open. For some reason, he doesn't want her seat to be taken by another student. But it is Yuhua, Yoonjin's closest confidante. Yuhua approaches him with the good news that Yoonjin has just returned from her village and is resting in her dormitory room. Without a second thought, Chang Jang bolts out of his seat and runs to Yoonjin's dormitory. At the door, he pounds with urgency, desperate to see her. The door creaks open, and Yoonjin appears, her face crestfallen. He asks her why she has been away for so long, but her eyes speak 1,000 words. Her father has passed away. Chang Jang is taken aback, the news hitting him like a ton of bricks. But he tried to ease her pain. Time flies by, and soon they arrive at the last term of their high school journey. As the graduation party approaches, Chang Jang's gaze is always drawn to Yoonjin, who sits with Yuhua. He can't resist the pull any longer and asks her to dance at the farewell party. As they sway to the music, Chang Jang feels his heart swell with emotion. He knows then that he has to tell Yoonjin how he feels. So, they slip away from the crowd, walking to the back of the school building, where he pours out his heart, confessing his love for her. As if plucked from a romantic novel, Yoonjin's soft lips brush against Chang Jang's, sending his heart racing with the thought of mutual affection. Little does he know, however, that Yoonjin's kiss is a farewell. Tears streaming down her face, Yoonjin turns away, leaving Chang Jang standing alone in the stark reality that their love is doomed. In her heart, Yoonjin knows that the great divide between their family backgrounds and economic levels makes their relationship impossible to sustain. As time passes, after a year, Yoonjin immerses herself in her studies, relentlessly working to pay for her university tuition. She secures a job at the campus library, where she encounters Shen Juan, a senior student with a kind heart who often works alongside her. Despite their age difference, the two grow closer with every passing day, bonding over their shared love of books and knowledge. Verily, it is whispered among the gossiping tongues that a special bond exists between Yoonjin and Chang Jang, a bond that has not gone unnoticed by the denizens of their school. On a day when the sun shines bright and the winds are calm, Chang Jang arrives at Yoonjin's campus accompanied by his younger sister. After a long period of separation, the reunion is fraught with awkwardness. Yet, amidst the palpable unease, Yoonjin and Chang Jang manage to converse. In that moment, Juan, Yoonjin's confidant, makes his presence known by introducing himself to Chang Jang. In response, Chang Jang extends his hand in greeting and declares himself to be Yoonjin's boyfriend. Upon hearing Chang Jang's proclamation, Yoonjin is quick to refute the claim. She makes it known to all in attendance that their relationship is that of mere acquaintances, having been close friends since high school. Wasting no time, Chang Jang proposes they take a leisurely stroll through the city. They make their way to a temple, where they each inscribe their wishes on slips of paper. Yoonjin, inquisitive by nature, attempts to discern the wish that Chang Jang has penned. Alas, he quickly covers it up before she can get a glimpse. In the meanwhile, Juan and Chang Jang's sister go off to purchase a drink. As Juan prepares to depart, her eyes change upon a solemn conversation between Chang Jang and Yoonjin. The tension between them is palpable, and the air is thick with an unspoken understanding. Suddenly, Chang Jang seizes Yoonjin, and with a forceful kiss, their emotions ignite. Juan watches from afar, her heart heavy with the weight of the moment. Later, Chang Jang's sister, a pillar of comfort and solace, offers her words of wisdom to the shaken Juan, whose mind is clouded with confusion and uncertainty. In the aftermath of this passionate display, the once strong bond between Yoonjin and Juan grows increasingly strained. Even as they work together in the library, they exchange not even the most cursory of greetings. Yoonjin, consumed by her emotions, seeks out Chang Jang to voice her grievances. It is in the heat of this confrontation that Chang Jang reveals the depth of his suffering after their high school graduation. His life is consumed by the search for Yoonjin, and he clings to the memory of the kiss they shared at their farewell party as a symbol of their love. But the harsh reality of Yoonjin's sudden disappearance and inaccessibility has caused Chang Jeng to lose hope and move on, leaving him adrift in a sea of uncertainty and heartache. As the sands of time continue to trickle down the hourglass, Yoonjin finds herself drifting apart from her once cherished friend, Ju-eun. Ju-eun has since departed from the university and ventured into the workforce. Meanwhile, the final days of Yoonjin's college years draw to a close, and she relinquishes her part-time job as her mother calls her back to their ancestral village. It is there that her mother implores her daughter's blessing to remarry, a request that Yoonjin ultimately agrees to. But as fate would have it, Yoonjin's path crosses once again with her former classmate, Chang Jeng. He is situated in close proximity to her abode, accompanying his mother on a business trip in the vicinity. By chance, they run into each other, and Chang Jeng shares that his mother has procured a factory nearby. As they serendipitously reunite, they engage in crafting rabbit lanterns together, reminiscing on past memories and reliving their shared history. Soon, Chang Jeng makes an audacious proposition to Yoonjin, offering her a place to reside with him in Beijing upon her graduation. And with a slow but resolute nod, Yoonjin accepts this unexpected offer, ready to embark on a new chapter in her life. As the day of Yoonjin's graduation draws near, she finds herself ardently sending out job applications in Beijing, yearning to be close to Chang Jeng. Yet, despite her indefatigable efforts, her hopes are dashed, as not a single company in Beijing extends her an invitation for an interview. Eventually, she receives a recommendation for a company located in Shanghai, and, without any other options, begrudgingly accepts the offer. Shortly thereafter, Chang Jeng informs Yoonjin that he has found a company in Beijing that is in dire need of employees. Hopeful that their wishes of being together may yet come to fruition, Yoonjin eagerly shares the news of her employment in Shanghai. To her utter dismay, Chang Jeng becomes infuriated, believing that she has broken her promise to him. Overwhelmed with guilt, Yoonjin takes it upon herself to embark on a train journey to Beijing, hoping to make amends. As she travels, Chang Jeng reaches out to her, stating that he too is on his way to Shanghai to see her. They agree to meet halfway, and, upon finally setting eyes on each other, they embrace tightly. Together, they journey to Beijing, where Chang Jeng whisks her away to shop for shoes and a party dress, as they will be attending his sister's engagement ceremony that evening. As the moon wanes and stars twinkle, Yoonjin enters the opulent realm of the party, only to be struck by a sudden, an unexpected twist of fate. The betrothed of Chang Jeng's dear sister is none other than Ju-eun, a former close companion from her college days. Despite the shock and pain of this revelation, Yoonjin summons her composure and offers Ju-eun a gentle admonition to cherish his future wife. Days trickle by, and Yoonjin returns to the mundane routine of her work at the company. But destiny has other plans, for one day, her stepfather arrives at her office with dire news. Her mother is gravely ill with cervical cancer. Unbeknownst to Yoonjin, her father is employed at a company owned by Chang Jeng's parents, and has turned to embezzlement to finance her mother's medical expenses. With great urgency, her stepfather implores her to assist in returning the pilfered funds. And so, with a heavy heart and frayed nerves, Yoonjin sets to work, frantically reaching out to friends and associates in search of the necessary sum. Regrettably, Soo Yoonjin's dear friends prove to be of little help in her dire circumstances. Confronted with no other alternatives, she implores Ju-eun for assistance, and he readily agrees to lend her the necessary funds. However, when Chang Jeng hears of his beloved's predicament, he hurries to her dwelling and offers her a sum of money. But to his dismay, Yoonjin spurns his offer and instead claims that it was Ju-eun who came to her aid. Enraged by her lack of faith in him, Chang Jeng storms out of her residence, his heart burdened with anger and disappointment. He proceeds to Ju-eun's abode, where he angrily flings the money he had brought for Yoonjin. In no uncertain terms, he demands that Ju-eun refrain from meddling in his affairs. That very night, Chang Jeng seeks refuge in the company of his comrades, seeking to quell the turbulent emotions churning within his heart. With a heart as heavy as lead, Yoonjin makes her way to the bar, her steps faltering with every passing moment. She yearns to convince Chang Jeng to return home with her, to mend the rift that has formed between them. But her efforts are in vain, as Chang Jeng spurns her advances and, in a cruel twist of fate, embraces another woman before her very eyes. The once unbreakable bond between them is shattered once more, leading to a painful and heart-wrenching parting of ways. As time passes, Chang Jeng listens to his mother's counsel and sets sail for a far-off land, leaving behind a heartbroken Yoonjin who finds herself unable to forget him. Seeking refuge and comfort, she makes her way to the temple they once visited, where they had inscribed their aspirations on delicate sheets of paper. And as she peruses through the hopes and dreams of countless others, she stumbles upon one that catches her eye, for it bears the script of Chang Jeng himself. Her heart sinks as she reads the wish he had written, for it entails both their names and reminds her of their past, filling her with an overwhelming sense of sorrow. Tears stream down her face as regret for what could have been weighs heavily on her heart. Heartbroken and alone in a foreign land, Yoonjin wanders the streets of New York, lost in her thoughts and consumed by her pain. The once vibrant and bustling city now appears cold and unforgiving, with towering skyscrapers that loom over her like giants.
Oh, I've heard all the stories of